Came through that final corner. Australia side by side with Brazil. Look in the background. Australia trying to take fifth, and he's alongside. I think he's done it. John Martin using power boost to great effect, and the Brazilian Felipe Guimaraes couldn't do anything about it.
Watch the Netherlands there trying to get a bit of action along with Team GBR just ahead.
Danny Watts for Great Britain, the bright yellow crash helmet in the Union flag colours on the car, showing up well, and he's trying to make a move on Brazil as New Zealand still holding on to third from Malaysia, on board with Netherlands also attacking.
Yeah, wave yellow flag into turn 5. You can't overtake. You've got to wait until you get the green flag in the exit, then you can pick it up again.
The car of Team Ireland being recovered, and Netherlands did back out of it, but Jeroen Blekeman's got Marco Andretti right behind him, and Marco Andretti for USA on the attack now. This is great stuff.
Very aggressive racing. This is a long race, 40 laps, 39 to go, so everybody's trying to get it all won, done and dusted on the second and third laps of this race.
So third still held by New Zealand as Danny Watts goes on the attack. Marco Andretti for Team USA, and the Stars and Stripes puts the pressure on the orange car that won earlier on today in the sprint race. Behind them as well, you've got Team China.
Well, just looking at the battle for second place, defence again from New Zealand. Farouz Fawji clearly got the quicker car. Can he do anything this time?
Oh, bit of a slide from New Zealand.
Defence from New Zealand, putting himself into the difficult part of the racetrack. Just really holding up the pace of the field behind. Farouz Fawji's got to find a way past quickly, or he will lose any momentum he's got.
These two have battled before. Remember, Zandvoort and Alabama's gone too deep into the final corner. Malaysia's going to try and get back. He can't quite do it. As I say, they raced hard, and Malaysia got past in the wet at Zandvoort, but they were very clean about it. Now he's alongside again, but he's on the wrong side, but he might do it. He's going to try and... No, he can't.
Unbelievable. Side by side through turn 1. Farouz Fawji was on power boost to try and get that pass complete. He couldn't get it done, but once they got into turn 2, the advantage went back to New Zealand. Farouz Fawji still stays in 4th place.
And this is allowing Monaco and Switzerland to break away up front. Monaco are leading the race, Switzerland in second. Remember, this is the battle for third, and look who's joining in. It's John Martin of Australia.
Oh, he's watching this battle. He's thinking, I can pick up the pieces. These two cars ahead of me, they're going to make contact. I'm in perfect position to put myself up to third without having to make a pass.
So really great stuff going on for third places. Up front, Monaco with a 1.7 second lead over Switzerland, drawing away. They're now some 7 seconds ahead of this fight, but Alabama's determined to hold on to third. Again, he takes a wide line in, but there's no space for the yellow and white car of Malaysia's Farouz Fawji to sneak in there somewhere, and behind them the positions stay the same. Brazil still in 6th place, the silver car with the Dago wings. Great Britain still in 7th, the Netherlands 8th, USA in 9th, but Germany got past China on the last lap.
Lock up from New Zealand coming into turn 12 it is. This time not quite so much defence. Farouz Fawji knows he can't keep pushing like that, because other than almost overran into the back of the New Zealand car. Watch Australia, John Martin. He's the guy who's going to try and take some of this action, and he'll do it as soon as he can. And he had to go very defensive. That was Farouz Fawji went defensive to keep John Martin behind. Yeah. Power boost from Malaysia, power boost from Australia.
Yeah, good stuff. John Martin on the attack, but Malaysia defending by using the power boost. The extra 60 brake horsepower kicking in, and that means Australia denied the opportunity to get alongside. So the two yellow cars battling there. Malaysia just ahead of Australia, and Australia so much wanting that first podium for John Martin, and their first podium for a long time.
Looked like a better apex for Australia in turn 4 than that for Malaysia. But again, into turn 5, not a long straight into that long turn 5, so nothing changes, and that pressure once again now being inflicted. If you go back, this is the start.
Yeah, let's take a look at that start once again. And this was from the front view, and it was a poor getaway, particularly from Portugal. They're further down the grid. Look at it, it was 4 abreast up front at one point.
Oh, look, I mean, it's still, was that Australia? 3 wheels on the grass.
Yeah, it was Australia. Australia really got squeezed out there, and that's why they lost the places. But then this is what happened to Team Ireland. Oh, did he get a tap or?
Well, he must have got a tap. He went down the outside of turn 5 to get past Malaysia. Yeah. It looks like he did get a tap on the right rear, and that's the reason why Adam Carroll and Team Ireland.
Oh, New Zealand's been hit by Malaysia, and Australia's gone through, and Brazil's gone through.
What did I say? Australia sat back to watch the action, knew something was going to happen. Brazil and Australia the beneficiaries.
Malaysia's still in there, but oh, look at Davis is for New Zealand. He can't believe that. Someone else is off.
That's a yellow helmet, I think.
In the dust storm, it's a bit hard to check out who it is. We'll try and see that in a moment. But Malaysia got away with it. There was definite contact. There's the New Zealand car off, but there's definitely somebody else who's run wide as well.
But why that other car went off, he couldn't tell. It looked like an independent incident. It's not Team GBR.
I think it's France, John. I think it may be the French car. We'll check that in a moment. Now, this is what happened to Earl Bamber.
He got a biff. That looks like the second biff that Malaysian car has been involved with this weekend. This race, I should say, not this weekend.
Definite contact. This is how it looked from Australia's point of view. Watch this.
Oh, definitely. You can see, no doubt, that was contact. Australia picked up the pieces. I knew that John Martin thought it might happen, and I think his prayers. And well, let's look again from another angle. I mean, you have to say New Zealand was the victim there, but they were being very, very defensive, and there's an element of frustration coming into Malaysia. They had it.
Look, you just saw in the background France got tapped by somebody else. It is France who went off. It's the same corner further up, but Mexico and France together went off. So there was contact between France and Mexico under yellow flags, John, as they went into that same corner.
Well, probably the yellow flag had just gone out, and probably Salvador Duran was fully loaded, just trying to find ways to make up places, and I suspect he didn't even know there was a flag out at all.
So we've lost a few cars there, I'm afraid. In the one lap, we've lost New Zealand, we've lost France, and we've lost Mexico. Ireland already out of this race, but up front, no doubt about Team Monaco, but Switzerland staying in the hunt. The gap is 2.2 seconds. And you have to say that's impressive, because we know how quick Neil Yarni is normally, John, and yet Kvyat Piccioni's got a 2.2 second gap on him.
And he's also got the fastest race lap to date. Malaysia coming in eventually. Now there must be damage to that car initially with Ireland, but now definitely in the right front or somewhere around there with contact with the rear of the New Zealand car.
So let's watch him into his stop. He's not able to make one of his proper stops, as it were, yet. Well, it won't count. He can change tyres, but it won't count as one of the obligatory stops. Oh, and China's off in the grass somewhere.
Well, was that all in the zone? That was out of turn 2 into turn 3. He had a big incident there on Friday when he clobbered with the tower walls heavily. Indeed, Farouz Fawzi goes on his way, so we don't know whether that was a mechanical.
Might have been a puncture, perhaps.
It's hard to tell. Certainly he hit the back of the New Zealand car solidly, enough to bring him into the pits.
Now, what else has been going on? This is
China
India.
we're waiting for. This is India going off. So India goes off all on their own, just get a bit of oversteer into turn 2 and ploughs and makes his way back, I suspect, onto the racetrack, but sort of a lack of almost interest now, I suspect, from the Rain Gothic.
So what's happening? Well, let's just say that's the major incident now.
Watch in the background to see what happens.
In the background, you'll see them just come into shot now-ish, I think. There.
Oh yes, well, clearly tagged from behind, and that wasn't even an overtaking manoeuvre, that's just a lack of ability to slow down quickly enough, and he just ran into the back of France.
So that's very disappointing. I'm sure France. Oh, and this was
China. Yeah, coming out of turn 2, got it all wrong. This time, luckily, he didn't hit anything.
Well, that's a shame, because China were running quite well up at that point. So now they've dropped a huge number of places. There's a very grim-faced Adam Carroll walking back over. Nicholas Prost, I'm sure, isn't feeling any happier. And there's been a lot more bumping in this race, John, than we've seen in this season, I would say, of A1GP.
Well, I think in part it's the nature of the racetrack. There's very few places you can get a run on somebody to attempt a clean overtaking manoeuvre. It tends to cause teams to bunch up, and of course the track does change. The tyres do have a change in performance, so everybody's getting it all wrong.
Well, let's get down to the pits. Diana has caught up with Adam already. Let's see what he has to say about it.
Adam, what's your opinion on what happened on the circuit there to take you out of the race?
Well, I got a good start and was, up a couple of positions. We were having a battle. Malaysia were really slow coming onto the back straight, so I used my push to pass. And, I knew I was ahead. I even still turned in quite late to give him some room, and he just hit me in the back right corner. So when you hit someone in the wheel, you're ahead. So, so I'm pretty annoyed, to tell you the truth. I'm pretty angry. That's disappointing for everybody in the championship. We would have had a good afternoon.
Well, there's another look at it, John, and it certainly doesn't seem to turn across in front of Malaysia. He seems, as he said, to try and give him a bit of room, would you say?
Yes, but I'd like to see it from another angle. I mean, he got alongside him almost at the point where he had to turn in. If he had stayed on that line any longer, he would have been on a very dirty part of racetrack. So it's a judgment, I think, that other angles that we may get to see from later in the show that can give us a clearer perspective. That one indicates that there was no doubt contact occurred. Whether it was as much space as Adam indicated, or whether Farouz Fawzi felt that he had the road chopped away from him, well, that'll be an argument that will continue long after this event's finished.
Now, Monaco's controlled this race so far, but Switzerland, just on the last lap, gained half a second. Monaco's been slightly quicker over the last few laps, but I just wonder if Neil Yarni isn't being cautious here, pacing himself. He's in an absolutely brilliant position. There's 2 pit stops still to go in this one, and he's just 2.3 seconds behind the race leader. And just to remind you, Australia running in 3rd place now.
Well, just looking at Neil Yarni, I mean, you can see what experience and confidence has given as a driver. If you go back